Hello students, in the last class we have started the osteology of the thorax and we have discussed the ribs of the thoracic region. Today we will start another bone of the thorax, that is the sternum. Students, you all know that sternum, it lies in the anterior median part of the thoracic region, and the sternum is a flat bone. The shape of the sternum is somewhat like a sword, तलवार की तरह होता है इसका shape, and the upper part of the sternum, which is called as the manubrium, is like a handle of the sword, and this vertical part, longitudinal part, which is called body of the sternum, is blade of the sword, and the lowest part of the sternum, which is called as the xiphoid, forms the tapering or pointed part of the sword. So the sternum has three parts. The upper part, this one is called as the manubrium. The middle part, which is the longitudinal part, is called as the body of the sternum, and the lowest part, which is pointed, is called as the xiphoid process. So first we will see the manubrium part of the sternum. What are the general features of the manubrium? As you can see in this picture that manubrium is quadrangular in shape. It is quadrangular in shape. It has two surfaces. This one is the anterior surface and a posterior surface, and it has four borders. This one is the superior border or upper border, this one is the inferior border, and this one is the lateral border, and this is also a lateral border. So it has four borders: superior, inferior, and two lateral borders. The superior border is characterized by a notch which is called as the jugular notch. This notch is called as the jugular notch, or it is also called as the suprasternal notch or the interclavicular notch. Just lateral to the jugular notch you can see this notch also. This is the articular site for the attachment of the clavicle. This is called as the clavicular notch. So on both sides of the jugular notch you can find one clavicular notch where the clavicle, the medial end of the clavicular, articulates with the manubrium of the sternum. Another border is the inferior border, this border, and this inferior border of the manubrium articulates with the body of the sternum, and this joint is called as the manubrio-sternal joint. It is a secondary cartilaginous joint. This joint is not a flat joint, but it makes an angle. It makes an angle which is called as the sternal angle or angle of Lewis. Now comes the lateral border of the manubrium. As you can see that in the upper part of the lateral border there is attachment of the articulation of the first rib. So there is an impression, there is an notch for the attachment of the first rib, and whereas on the lower part of the lateral border of the manubrium you can find a demifacet. At this demifacet the upper part of the second costal cartilage articulates with the manubrium. Similarly, a demifacet is also found on the upper part of the lateral border of the sternum, where the lower part of the second costal cartilage articulates with the sternum. So the second costal cartilage articulates partially at the lateral border of the manubrium, and partially it articulates with the lateral border of the body of the sternum. So there are two demifacets, one demifacet at the lower part of the lateral border of the manubrium, and one demifacet at the upper part of the lateral border of the sternum for the articulation of the second costal cartilage. The joint between the first costal cartilage and the manubrium is primary cartilaginous joint, whereas the other joints of the costal cartilage, that is the second to seventh costal cartilage, the joint is synovial joint. So the first chondrosternal joint is always primary cartilaginous joint, whereas the second to seventh chondrosternal joint are always synovial joint. Now comes the second part of the sternum, that is the body of the sternum. As you can see that the body is longer, narrower and thinner in comparison to the manubrium. It has two surfaces. This one is the anterior surface, and similarly to the manubrium it has posterior surface also. So it has anterior and posterior surface, whereas it has two borders, two lateral border. This one is the lateral border, and similarly there is a lateral border, and it has, the body has two ends, the upper end and a lower end. The anterior surface is roughly flat, nearly flat, and it is characterized by the presence of three transverse ridges. You can see that this one is a transverse ridge, this one is a transverse ridge, and this one is the third transverse ridge. So it has three transverse ridge, which indicates the fusion of the four small segments which are called as the sternemi. So this one is the first segment, the second segment, the third segment, the fourth segment of the sternum, and these segments are called as the sternemi, sternibri. So these sternibri are fused together, fused to the adjacent sternibri at the transverse ridges. The posterior surface is slightly concave, and it is marked by less distinct transverse lines. Now comes the lateral border. You can see that the lateral borders have articular facets. As I told you earlier that there is an demi-articular facet on the upper part of the lateral border of the body of the sternum for the articulation of the second rib. Similarly, below the demi-facet you can find a facet for the third rib, fourth rib, fifth rib, sixth rib, and at the lower end of the body of the sternum, on the lateral border of the body of the sternum, you can again find a demi-facet for the articulation of the seventh rib, and similarly a demi-facet can be found on the upper part of the xiphoid process. So the seventh rib, just similar to the second rib, the seventh rib also articulates with the body of the, partially articulates with the body of the sternum, and partially articulates with the xiphoid process. So at the lateral border of the body of the sternum you can find two demi-facet at the upper end, one at the upper end of the lateral border and one at the lower end of the lateral border of the body of the sternum, and a complete facet for the third, fourth, fifth and sixth ribs. These lateral border forms the synovial joint with the costal cartilages. Now comes the upper end. The upper end of the body of the sternum forms the secondary cartilaginous joint with the manubrium, whereas the lower end of the body of the sternum forms the primary cartilaginous joint with the xiphisternum or xiphoid process. Now comes the third part of the sternum, that is the xiphisternum or xiphoid process. As you can see that xiphisternum or xiphoid is the smallest part of the sternum, and its shape is not fixed, its shape is variable. In some you can find the xiphoid process pointed, in some people you can find it bifid also, and in some you can find it the perforated. The lateral border of the xiphoid process has a demi-facet for the articulation of the seventh rib. So students, please pay attention to this picture. In this picture you can see that the ribs are articulating with the sternum, particularly the cartilaginous part of the rib articulates with the sternum, and this one is the articulation of the first rib with the manubrium, and this joint is primary cartilaginous joint, and the rest of the costal cartilages articulate with the sternum and forms the synovial joint. So this one is the synovial joint, second synovial joint. This one is the third synovial joint between the third rib and the sternum, fourth, fifth, sixth and seventh. So these 7 ribs articulates with the sternum, out of which the first rib articulates with the sternum by a primary cartilaginous joint, and rest of the ribs second to seventh forms the synovial joint. This joint between the manubrium and the body of the sternum is again the cartilaginous joint, the secondary cartilaginous joint, whereas this joint between the, which is called as a xiphisternal joint, is the primary cartilaginous joint. Students, as I told that this sternal angle, or which is called as the mandibulo-sternal joint, has some clinical utility also. This sternal angle, the horizontal plane which passes through this sternal angle separates the superior mediastinum from the inferior mediastinum, and this sternal angle marks the limit of the ascending aorta and the beginning of the arch of aorta. This sternal angle also marks as the end of the arch of aorta and beginning of the thoracic aorta. And most important, that at the junction of this sternal angle, the second rib articulates with the sternum. So with the help of palpation of sternal angle, we can count the ribs over the surface of the thorax. One very important clinical utility of the sternum bone is the collection of bone marrow. As you all know that the sternum is subcutaneous in our body, so the subcutaneous position of the sternum makes it possible to place a needle through the hard outer cortex into the internal or medullary cavity which contains the bone marrow. So once the needle is in the position of the medullary cavity, we can aspirate the bone marrow from the sternum, and that bone marrow can be used for the clinical diagnosis, just such as the blood cancer, leukemia. So students, this is all about the features of the sternum bone. Hope this lecture will help you in understanding the sternum bone. If you have any doubt, you can call me or WhatsApp me. Thank you.